I love it when a small linebacker gets the spotlight. I'm lucky enough to become good friends with that win, over the years. But I think about Sam Mills and guys like Dexter Coakley, who played for the Cowboys.
Yep.
Listen, that was Dad and Dexter played together, Paul.
Yeah.
And I was the head coach at SMU. I think I've told you all this story, but me and Coach Parcells really had sort of a clash. He told me one time he wanted me to play in this Cowboy celebrity golf tournament when I was there at SMU. And I told him, I said, man, you've got Dat Win. He hadn't met Dat yet. And I said, you're going to love him. And Larry Lacewell sort of led the drafting of Dat. And Parcells told me I hate midget linebackers. It pissed me off. And I said, I can't play in your tournament. I said, if you don't like him, then you got a problem.
Do you know the story?
He calls me in a year. He goes, listen, I know I made you mad last year. He goes, I just want to tell you, not only were you right, he said he could play on any team I've ever coached.
Yeah. The story is great. He had him traded, like the trade was agreed to send Dat to the Saints. They had it agreed to, and he walked in to tell Dat that he was going to trade him, and they were about to pull the trigger, and he looked at him, and he just couldn't do it.
I know it.
He couldn't do it, and
Dat was real close to the family that down in what's their name that owned the team, the owner in San Antonio. He was close to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Benson, is that right?
Yeah, Benson.
Yeah,
that was real close, and he was ready to go.
Yeah. Phil Bennett with us Mondays. You're getting ready to go, Craig. We have questions for you, but you're getting ready to be out for a while, headed to Europe. So we'll have you on today, then we'll get you back right before the season begins. Okay. Can't wait to do that.
Sounds good.
Hey, Coach, we just had DJ Kinney on, and he's got, another year under his belt coming up there in San Marcos. Obviously, the move to the Pac-12 eventually coming up for them as well. Your thoughts on kind of seeing Texas State emerge as this place of potential, and also your thoughts just on a young guy, DJ Kinney, who I'm sure you've heard a lot about, seen play, et cetera, back in the day, and just, everything going on with the Bobcats right now.
Well, Craig, first of all, I've known GJ when your dad was talking about him. I followed him all through high school. Of course, I knew his dad. Dad was a great player at Baylor. Sam, my son, and GJ worked together over at Hawaii for Todd Graham.
Okay.
So I'm first of all, he's a wonderful, wonderful young man. And it just tickles me to see the success he's had. The leadership, he did it in Incarnate Word, that he's doing it there. I'm just really excited for him, and I think that he as just listening to him, you can tell those kids will respond to the way he coaches, and he's been coached from his grandpa, and he mentioned Todd Graham. When I was at SMU and he was at Tulsa, he was really a good player. He was a tough guy. He was a guy that could not only throw it, he could run it, made good decisions, didn't turn the ball over. I'm very happy for him.
It's like asking somebody if they have multiple children, who's your favorite son or favorite child. But in the case of you, with everybody you coach with, as far as head coaches, and you were one at SMU, who was the best closer as a recruiter when the head coach had a chance to visit with the prospect?
I'm trying to think. I told you, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I never had a bad job. I loved every coach I ever worked for, and everyone had a different attribute. One of the things I can remember with RC is RC was he could fit into any scenario. And, he grew up in Orange, Texas. He didn't have anything. Him, his brothers, his mom, and then he could go to a country club. But I thought he did a good job of adapting. Curly Hallman was a wholesome fun. He made people comfortable. But I tell you what, one thing that was funny that always got me was Bill Snyder. Bill Snyder had a presence that I don't care who it was. Everybody adapted to him, whether he went into a high school, whether he went into a parent's home. It didn't matter what scenario he went in, and he never changed. It was the same sort of, he sort of had a deal he did, and I used to think, well, I wish he had changed. But the reason it was him, and it worked because they saw this. He used to always tell me, he goes, your son becomes my son. And I'm going to treat him like that. And he tells this, he goes, if he needs a whipping sometime, I'm not literally going to whip him, but there's a chance I might. And they loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Phil Bennett with us on 365 Sports.
GJ mentioned Todd, like coaching hard. You coached people hard. Todd Graham coached people. His grandpa coached him hard. What's the most difficult spot mentally to know that, like, I'm coaching hard or I'm just being a bit of a jerk, right? Like, I've crossed the line and need to dial it back.
One of the things, Paul, that I wanted a sense of urgency. I don't think you can be, football's different than practicing basketball and baseball. It's fun. You can enjoy it. Football is that's why it's such a life builder. I mean, it's not fun to go out in today's heat and hit each other and chase and run and get hit. The coaches have to create that sense of urgency. And that sense of urgency can't be without passion and caring. I always think that I was able to turn it off. I remember, I'll never forget this. Eddie Lackey, it was Bryce Hager. Bryce Hager told somebody one time, he said, one day we were practice and I did something. Coach Bennett was just ripping my ass all day, this, that. And he goes, and I didn't want to be around him. And we're walking off. We used to walk off, go in the locker room. And I walk up, put my hand on him. And I said, hey, how's your dad's new job doing? How's Bridget? How's this? And I looked at him. I thought, who the hell is this guy? He said, he's a Jekyll and Hyde. But the truth of the matter is, you got to turn it off. And you can have a sense of urgency and coach hard. One of the things I don't think I was ever degrading. I think kids knew that I had a sense of urgency, but being degraded. And if I ever was, and I caught myself, which definitely I am fallible, I would make it a point to, hey, come see me. Listen, this is I'm sorry. You've got to be real to them. If you're not, I don't think you can expect the best.
How do any human does this? They have emotions. They don't like being criticized. Coaches get criticized to also make good money and whatever. How did you keep that out of your head, or was that possible?
I think two things, David. First of all, if you were a coach or you were someone that I really respected and you criticized me, that's different. Mm-hmm. But to the untrained eye and to the fan, I didn't need to be validated by people that I didn't think were knowledgeable. Now, that doesn't mean that we all like to be liked, right? We all like to be liked, but I also knew the situation. There was things that they didn't understand. And, I think I told you one. People didn't understand that we were going to play almost a game and a half compared to other people. So our total yardage was going to be more. But the things that counted, the yards per snap, the points per position, I found a way with Art's offense to create positives for our kids. And some people didn't get it. And, and I never worried about it. Now, if you were brave enough, I told you about the time the guy said something to me on the plane after I was coaching at Arizona State. He was a Baylor guy. He popped off on a plane, and we both almost went to jail.
By the way, I have one regret from the trip.
What is that?
I never asked you to give me the name of the coach, and I won't do it on the air, who was cheating, recruiting, and then you took him to the woodshed.
Well, his name. Hey, you would know his name.
I'm going to get that from you next time. I'm going to get that.
You know, it's like at Jerry's funeral. I mean, we grew up in Marshall. I mean, we had to fight for our life, especially me. I was the baby. I got slapped around forever, and then got big enough I could do some slapping, and it was laughed. And some guy got up there, one of Jerry's players. He said his dad told him one day, he goes, "I can't believe you're playing for one of the Bennett brothers." He said they stayed in trouble. Well, we grew out of it.